Alright, No Good Gamer here. Welcome back for another episode of Stone Block 4. Last time we were working on pushing our Hyperion stuff, and I have all of the left side done, and most of this side done, but now we need to do neutron activator stuff. Problem with that is this is meant to reprocess nuclear waste. And that pushes us into antimatter pellets, which is just getting into antimatter stuff, and then we'll go back to colliding to make black holes in the particle collider. And my current setup should be able to actually handle this just fine, but we need to get to antimatter pellets. Which, yes, there's a chicken, but unfortunately, to get the chicken, you need a bunch of antimatter, so you just need to be able to make it anyway. To make antimatter, you use the supercritical phase shifter. It's a big multi-block, really cool, but it takes like millions of Fe per tick to run. But it turns polonium into antimatter. Polonium is one of the things we get out of nuclear waste from the neutron activator. There's two things we'll be getting out of that. We need polonium and then plutonium. For a few different things, because we're going to be using polonium pellets and plutonium pellets, as well as the polonium fluid itself. Whole bunch of stuff. It's a big long process. Thing is, it's going to take a lot of stuff to get there, and it's definitely not going to all fit in one episode. Even if I literally just like built it, did a brief explanation. Like, if I built it off screen, showed you it, did an explanation, moved on, and kept doing that, that would still be probably like a 45-minute episode. So I'm breaking this up. And the first thing I think I'm going to do, believe it or not, is actually upgrade power. Because right now we're making a little over 2 million Fe per tick. But just to run one of those things to make antimatter is going to require about 5 to 6 million Fe per tick. Not to mention all the machines it's going to take just to get the fissile fuel that we're going to need for the nuclear reactor and all that stuff. But that's some stuff for later. For now, what we're going to do is I've already set up all of the mycelial generators. I've built one of every single one. And the way that these work is you have the Mycelial Reactor. This will generate 25 million Fe per tick as long as every single one of these other mycelial generators is generating power and it doesn't have a backlog. So as long as it has somewhere to go, which is really nice because we have a pretty much endless battery now with the giant draconic battery. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and set up every single one of these. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 9. So that's 16. So there's 16 different generators, and they all run on something different. A lot of them are pretty easy, pretty simple. Like the Nether Star just runs on Nether Stars, and we generate a boatload of those. But I will be getting all these set up, and then I will be showing the aftermath of what it looks like when it's done. For now, I think I'm going to actually set it up in the power room. So I've set up a cable here for the network, and I can run it from this side up and connect it in, and I can just export what I need. And if I need additional crafting stuff, I can do that elsewhere and have it just kind of import afterwards. But I will explain what's going on with that here in just a moment. Alright, it took quite a while, but I got everything set up. It's not the prettiest, but again, I'm function over form for the most part. So, going down the line, that side, that red one is the explosive mycelial generator. If I get close to it, I'll start taking damage. You can see my shield at the bottom left starts taking ticks. But I'm just using gunpowder as its power source. And using those ones that are marked pink are all marked for the mycelial stuff. It's coming into here and then going into our overall network that pretty much cannot fill up in the battery. But these aren't really where the power comes from. I think we get like probably around 1 million or 1.5 million total from all of this setup. What we're going to be getting our power out of is this mycelial reactor. But going back to where I was going with this is the next one was the furnace one, which is just anything burnable. Frosty uses snow, like snow blocks, ice. The denser the ice, the more power you get, but we're just trying to make sure that it consistently is generating power. That's all we care about. Halitosis uses dragon's breath. The nether stars. Magma is lava, obviously. Metallurgic, I thought was going to be like a meat or something, but it's literally just metal. So I'm using copper since copper's super easy for me to get a hold of. Actually, I think I need to swap that. Or no, I needed to add a fluid. I was missing something from that, I think. Let me see. Metallurgic. Liquid meat, that's what it was. But I'm just using export stuff, so if I do that, I have liquid meat in the system. Boom, switch that to round robin since there's more than one thing now. And just like that, we're using copper and liquid meat to make power. And then death is literally just rotten flesh, bones, stuff like that. Culinary uses pretty much any food crop, and I don't really have a use for sweet berries otherwise, so I'm using that for this. Crimed is pretty much anything that would be like nether mushroom. I have a different mushroom I can use otherwise, but I'm generating so many nether warts and it automatically compounds into blocks anyway, so I'm just using the blocks. Ender pearls. The pink one is literally just anything pink. And since I have all the dye chickens, I'm just going with pink dye. Slimy mycelial generator is a little annoying because it's slime balls and milk. So I had to make another cow jar specifically for milk production just to be able to get this to go. And I'm probably going to have to add like 2 or 3 more jars or just periodically keep going over and using my time wand like I did to get filled up with this. I think it was like 300 buckets of milk before I decided I was okay for right now. Because it only uses a 1/4 bucket of milk per process, and it holds 8 buckets. So, and you can see it takes quite a while to go through it. The potion mycelial generator was a little bit more complicated. I'm using strength potions because it just reduces how many things I have to put in. So using the potion brewer, I'm bringing in blaze powder, nether wart, water, and empty glass bottles, which is all I need for this, because the way this works is with the potion brewer, you have your blaze powder in here, and then you have your ingredients up here for what you're going to be using, empty bottles, and then water. And as long as you put it in the right order up here, like putting nether wart first, it'll first make water bottles, and then it'll use the first product to make the first one, which makes the awkward potions, and then the second one makes the strength potions. And then I just filtered it. I have a pipe in the back that filters out the strength potions specifically to put in here, because I tried to have it pull, but it was pulling awkward potions, not using it for power, and then immediately trashing it. Because what happens is once it consumes the potion to gain the full bar for power, it has an empty bottle that I kick out into a trash can. Little annoying to deal with, but not a huge deal otherwise. Right next to it, I have the rocket mycelial generator, which just uses rockets. And I used a crafter tier 3 to make both the paper and the rockets afterwards. So all I'm sending in here is gunpowder and sugarcane. And then while on paper, you switch this part to internal so it keeps this inside and it doesn't try to put it over here. Lock all the spots in here for the ingredients that you need, and then just something that you're not going to be putting in here, so you don't just have a whole bunch of materials stuffed in here for no reason. And then for the firework rockets, I have that for external so that it'll put here, and then this is just automatically pulling from above on its own, because these have their own little interface for that. And then the last one, which is I thought going to be the most complicated, but it was mostly just annoying getting the XP fluid into my system properly. I didn't realize it was actually being fluid and not like getting put in as an XP thing. I was trying to use like experience storage cells. It wasn't working, but it was still pulling my experience, and I was like freaking out trying to figure out where my experience was going. But as it turns out, it literally just turned into a fluid rather than being straight experience. So I just used the XP fluid from Just Dire things to put it into the printer from Create, and then I'm using Smite 1. So the way this works, I thought I was going to have to use another crafter and make a bunch of books and stuff books in here, do that. It would consume it, and then I would have to do it again. But if you can see, I have a loop going. This will print Smite 1, put it into here, and then when it consumes it, it gives back a regular book. So the plain book I have being put back onto here to immediately get re-enchanted and go back in. So one book is just rotating through and keeping this thing powered. And I'm going to use Facade for that to cover that up. And just like that, pipe's still back there, but you can't tell. You still see some of the pipes. I'm not too worried about it being super clean. I just don't like having weird holes behind things, at the very least. But now we're at the magical point where we have the reactor to put down. So right now, it looks like on this network, we're doing, actually, that's funny. We're only getting about 5,000 FE per tick for all of these. Between 6 plugs and 16 generators, we're only getting about 5k. But, just right here connected to this one, right underneath, I'll stick this reactor on here. And it's supposed to work. Hold for a moment. Alright, yeah, I was wondering if I had all of them done. I do definitely have all of them if you can't tell right here. And like it says, this block generates 25 million RF per tick when all other mycelial generators are active. Which makes me think, since this isn't working right now, that one of them isn't active. So I'm going to come through here and make sure... Oh, why is this filled? Oh! Ha! See, this is what I was talking about I needed to check on. I was getting ready to put this in, but I had to explain the pipe before I covered it up, and then put this down. So once I put this in, booyah. Slap that on, and just like that, we are generating 25 million FE per tick from this block. Ooh, buddy. I could have just taken it and moved it back up one, but I don't know. Having it kind of just sitting away a little bit to bring focus to itself is a lot better, in my opinion. So it's showing on this network. Yeah, got 25 million on here, but it's only showing 800k. Oh, I know why. Because I forgot to bypass limit. So now, there we go. 29, almost 30 million FE per tick right now. Between having all of these reactors and then doing the mycelial reactor. Oh man, that has a lot of power input now. But now we can also, with all of that, our main network is already bypassed on the limit and has the ability to put out as much as we need up to that 29 million per tick. And we're going to have like 5, 6, 7, or 8 million per tick kind of put to just one machine at some point towards the end of this. But in the meantime, the next steps moving forward, since we just have power up now, is we're going to need to get into the mechanism reactor stuff. Because using these is how we get our steam output and nuclear waste. The nuclear waste is what we're after to make all of the different like antimatter, plutonium, polonium, all that stuff is coming straight from this. And the steam that comes out of it, we can actually repurpose for even more power. We should be able to get a few million more FE per tick just to come from this. I'm planning to actually reuse the steam, and I'm hoping that I can get it set up just right to be able to only have to fill it up once, and then it just works on its own. I've been trying to read into a bunch of stuff and like watch a bunch of videos that of guys explaining this, because this specific, the mechanism reactor, is a little complicated, and it is also dangerous because if you don't get it right and you don't have fail safes in place, it can actually blow up your base. It can explode, cause damage, blowing a big hole in around the area that it's in, and also with this nuclear waste, it irradiates the area and makes it pretty much completely uninhabitable, and everything connected to it and within a certain range you can't even get near without taking damage. So we've got to be kind of careful. But I think that's something we're going to work on in the next episode. This is probably a fairly short episode for what it is, but we've got our 25 million FE per tick up. Honestly, the most complicated part about doing this was the disenchanting one, and the couple that I needed to get stuff crafted into. Those were a little annoying, and dealing with the potion brewer. The potion brewer itself as a block is just, it's really handy if you only need to make a bunch of one potion. So like doing stuff like this, it works really well. I tried to use it to replace our potion making upstairs with the regular brew stands, and it kind of works, but you literally, for every single potion you're making, you need a brewer. So if I wanted to make all like 50 something, 100 something potions or whatever, I would need just as many of these to do it. I thought I was going to be able to do it on a like a pattern request crafting setup, which would have been brilliant if it would have worked. But the problem is for some reason, no matter what, whether like, because these correspond to their colors. So like the output is purple. I can change what it goes where, turn off different spots. But for some reason in these stupid machines, I don't know if it's because of this mod pack or something, but it doesn't really work too well. So if up here, if I turn these to only be able to accept anything from the top, and then this only pulls from the left. In every other modded setup that I've done that allows filtering like that, it would work just like that. It would only bring blaze powder in from the left, and it wouldn't fill in any other spots. Unfortunately, this blue side, it doesn't matter what you click on here. I denied every single side, and it'll still fill up with anything you connect it to. It is the stupidest thing. Because if it would have allowed me to just do it the proper way, I could have set up patterns to just send what I need in here in the same exact order, so it would input just like this, like where it would go from nether wart to blaze powder, and then possibly gunpowder or redstone after that to make it longer or whatever. It would be able to work like that, but the problem is like I said, that it just doesn't. For some reason, it does not recognize the filtering on these. It irritates me to no end. It's about one of the only real, genuine problems I've run into with playing modded Minecraft in general. Hey, look. See? It'll print it and then send it right back in. Just like that, all of this works! I'm so hyped. Kind of like that little thing right there. Alright, and if you're still here at the end of this episode, I appreciate you sticking around through my rambling. Especially in a boring episode like this, but to be honest, it's a short thing, but it also took me about 3 hours to get all this done. Not just because of, physically setting them up, but there were a few things like the milk and a few other things that I had to go around and get processes set up. Like I didn't realize I didn't have my nether I didn't have my nether star checking up yet. I just had nether stars printable through replication, and I don't want to dedicate a CPU to automatically crafting the ingredients for a power generator that's going to be permanently running. I wanted to make sure that I was just bringing in stuff that auto-generates and doesn't have to, use a crafting process. But I think I did okay. I probably could have made it a lot prettier, but I just wanted to stick it up in the sky because, like I said, this thing hurts. Ow, ow, ow. Ew. So glad I have a shield. It takes a while for me to actually take damage now. But with that, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Leave a like, subscribe. I'm trying to come out with more videos. I know it's been a while since my last one, but I am trying to keep up on these things, and this specific process is complicated enough, and I'm not a professional at this. Come on, I'm a no-good gamer. I'm just a regular dude that plays stuff. Anywho, leave a little love, leave a little hate. You know the drill. At the end of the day, the most important thing is you have a good one.